Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys Season 2 with your host, Captain Gaige.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. This is episode number 54 from the studio, and we are giving away our anniversary prize tonight. The raffle is happening right now. Get your raffle tickets out. Just kidding. You didn't need any raffle tickets. You didn't have to buy anything. This is 100% a free raffle that we held for Bay Rats and Buoys anniversary, celebrating our 1 year. And if you wrote congrats, hashtag Bay Rats Year 1, you were entered in. We have 49 entries in the wheel. And I am going to show you right now. I am going to spin the wheel and pick a winner right here on episode number 54. We're giving away a Stradic 3000 loaded with 20-pound braid, a Star Rods Stellar Lite 6'6" medium fast rod. And let me tell you, this is not an easy rod to get these days. This is a sought-after rod. This setup is absolutely insane. It's valued at $350. I'm totally jealous. I want this setup. I love it. I think it's awesome, and somebody's going to put it to good use this time of the year, catching tog. I guarantee it. So, here we go. With no time to waste, let's spin the wheel. I got it set to spin for 20 seconds. I'm going to put the video up here on the screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. All I'm going to do is tap to spin, and let's see who's going to win our Star Rods Stellar Lite medium fast Stradic with a 3,000 20-pound braid on it. And the winner is Eric Hernandez. You got to be kidding me. I mean, you absolutely have to be kidding me. I mean, but listen, everybody's name is in there multiple times. He's only in there once. So his chances were not as great as yours. But I got to say, that is pretty epic. I love that it's going to local guys. I didn't care who it went to. Could have went to anybody. We're going to have raffles. We're going to have raffles. We're going to have raffles every month, giving away some great prizes, guys. This was just for our anniversary. We wanted to give away something great. I will put this up on the screen right here for everybody to see. So you'll see the wheel spinning. You'll see your names on it. There are so many names on this list. There were 50 names on it. And I got to tell you, if you went on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, if you did it 3 times, your name is on that wheel 3 times. So we did it fair and square, and Eric Hernandez is the winner. And I can't believe that. I really can't. So he's got some friends over there that also listen to the podcast at Huntington Yacht Club with Tony and Janine. You guys are a dynamic duo out there. I see you guys out there all the time. It is so great to see you out there. And I just love our local area. We have such a great area to fish in, the Long Island Sound. We're very proud of it. But I am also very proud to have Bay Rats and Buoys hosted in Huntington Harbor. That is where it was born 54 weeks ago. I can't believe it. And we've been very consistent to stay on 54 weeks and not miss an episode. This was an absolute big deal. I'm holding the phone here so you guys can see this was legit. And I am going to take a screenshot of that. All right, I'll save that screenshot. But I am going to go ahead and put it up here on the screen for you guys to see the wheel spinning and the whole video so you know that it was done fair and square. The good news is I couldn't stop that wheel. In fact, it was pretty cool. I must have practiced 20, 30 times a day or two ago after I put the names in, and just trying to see if this thing was going to be work, if it was going to be fair, if it kept going to the same name. And now I sit down to do it, and Eric Hernandez wins the rod. That is unbelievable. So, super happy for you, Eric. You are going to get some good use out of it. Hopefully you invite me out on the Why Not. I can't wait to fish with you. And I'll even bring Corey. He'll be happy to cut up the green crabs for you. And you could break that rod in on some 7 to 8 pounders. Now, I say that because fishing in our area, the tog fishing this season has started off like no other. I mean, it's on fire. It really is. And I was rooting for some people to win that rod. I really was. Like Lisa O'Donnell, because she went out this week with Chris, and they pulled up in front. I mean, there must have been 10 boats around them, and they pulled up in the middle of these guys, dropped their anchor, and they limited out. They caught some really nice tog locally in shallow water, and it was great to see them come back. They came to the back to the dock so quick that he was like, yeah, we limited out. And Lisa had high hook. They posted it on Facebook. I probably could grab a couple of the pictures here and show you. So it's always great to see the locals. I see them down at the dock. I see them out on the water. I met some new people for Bay Rats and Buoys this week at the fuel dock. So I was sitting over there talking to the staff, waiting for a tow to come in that I was going to assist getting into it was a big boat. It was a 45-foot Sea Ray. So I was going to stand by to assist and help out. And here comes a Boston whaler, and I'm telling him to come in and get gas, that I'm just sitting here. So don't worry about me. I'm not waiting in line. And he comes in and he asks, you Captain Gaige from Bay Rats and Buoys. And he had a great setup. He was heading out to catch some fish, and obviously he was going for the bass. He had a nice Tony Maja trolling rod on, another sponsor from our first annual invitational, the Striped Bass Invitational for Bay Rats and Buoys. So big shout out to him. We didn't exchange names. I had the other boat coming in. He started pumping his gas right away, and but he did mention that he knows the podcast, watches the podcast. So that was kind of cool. And it's always great to see the younger generation and the kids that watch it and listen to it and respond and get involved. I got to tell you, we're going to see the kids at the Ward Melville High School this year because it's official. Bay Rats and Buoys is back in the gym for the 2-day. It's a 2-day event this year at the Ward Melville High School. It's a Saturday and a Sunday, and I'll put the dates up here for you guys to check it out. We'll also be at the Copeg. That one's in March, the Ward Melville High School. We're at the boat show, and we're also at the Copeg Fire Department is hosting an awesome fishing show, and that's going down on January 31st. I'll also post that information here. We got local tournaments going on. Guys, Bay Rats and Buoys needs to get this fishing club together so we could challenge these guys. It was funny because I put out a video last week saying that we should host, we should have some sort of tog tournament. And there's a ton of tog tournaments. Last Saturday, I get down to the marina at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can't begin to tell you. There's not a spot to be had. You can't get a spot in the marina. And I was just like, holy shit, something's going on. And it was. There was tournaments. There were different fishing tournaments going on. And when that happens, everybody's out. Everybody, and I even said it. And Dave Flanagan, you had a funny comment on the post day. I love Dave, North Island Fly, and he posted a comment saying it was not a good day to be tog on Saturday because everybody and their cousin was out there fishing for tog. And I did mention that the season started off with a bang. It really has. And guys are catching really nice 5, 6, 7 pound tog. I'm not seeing too many 10-pound tog yet in my area. But guys are going in the shallows up to 30 feet. I did hear some people catching some decent-sized tog in 49 feet already. But I wasn't there. I don't know. It's what I heard. But I would say to stay within 30 feet and less right now if you want to get on some nice tog. And I'd stay to the shallow waters right now. Water temperature, when I checked last, was 58 degrees. I always put down cameras in different areas, guys, just to see what's going on in certain areas. And I let it sit there for hours, and then I go back and I retrieve the camera. And here, I'm going to show you on the screen some footage that I captured of fluke, porgy, blackfish, and striped bass all in the harbor. I shit you not. All in the harbor. And, I mean, you guys know it because you guys fish for these fish in the harbor all the time. You do. There's guys that drift for fluke. When days they can't get out into the sound, they drift in the harbor. They drift for fluke. We see it all the time. Guys catch striped bass in the harbor all the time. But it was so cool to see the fluke. You can see him off to the side here, and then he swims into the camera. But when he lays down, you can't see him. They are absolutely so cool to see, in their environment. And I saw a picture of one recently that I looked and, listen, I check and see if it's any AI stuff, but it looked like it was brown on both sides. And it was really cool. And it's just cool to see. So that's why I bring it up. That's why I dropped the camera down. I love it high tide because the water this time of the year, when that water temperature gets down to 58 degrees, you look down 10 feet, you can see the bottom. Speaking of the bottom. Oh, God, it happens to the best of us. But this past weekend, there were sailboats that ran aground. Boats are sinking. They got boats flying in the harbor on plane, taking on water. I mean, this time of the year, it goes from 0 to 100 in no time. It was complete pandemonium. You could be sitting around doing nothing, and the next thing you know, you got 3 things happening at once, and Channel 16 is going crazy, or it could be quiet all day. It's unbelievable. It really is. But I love our area. I really do. We're super blessed. We got a great fishery. And let's talk about how many times have you heard me say, where are the bunker? Right? I say it all the time. I'm constantly talking to the guys in the West, guys in the East. I'm in all the groups on Facebook. I talk to a lot of people. I get a lot of intel. I talk to the DEC. I talk to the shop owners. I talk to the charter captains. So to say that my feelers aren't out there for all kinds of, intel, I'm not looking for intel on where I should go fishing. I'm looking for intel on how maybe we could help our fishery. There's things we could do, rules and regulations, things change, things you hear, things that are not true that are being, spewed out in the Facebook groups because everybody's a keyboard warrior and they know it all. I say it and preach it here all the time. I am not a know-it-all. I do not know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. In fact, I tell you, I'm a sponge and I love learning. So I love asking questions and learning new stuff. I do. Hence, the new interviews that we're going to have so that I could bring stuff to you guys so you could learn too. I try to pass on as much of that information as I can to you. All right? And I don't have to give away sources and say this one said it, that one said it. But I trust the sources, okay? I really do. And you hear it directly from the horse's mouth. I bring it to you. And I'll tell you this right now about Asian crabs and green crabs. What I'm hearing as of today, they're not enforcing anything with the green crabs. Okay? Yes, it's been noted that it's an invasive species, but it's been here, for a long time. Where the Asian crabs have been here for the last 20 years, another invasive species, okay? You can use the green crab for bait, for tog, okay? What they didn't want, you know what time that is. What they didn't want was people bringing the crab back and reintroducing them to a different body of water. And so you come back from fishing using your green crab, and the ones that are alive, you put back in your pen. We all do it, right? They're not enforcing that. So if you heard anything along the lines of you can't put your live crabs back in your pen, they're not enforcing that. But they are enforcing, if you're catching short blackfish, you're going to get multiple tickets for other things you have done that now they have new regulations in place that they know are pretty obscure and crazy. They do. And they're going to work on them and change them. This is how it all gets worked out and ironed out, I like to say, Asian crabs. A lot of guys use Asian crabs. A week ago, I said they were hitting Asian crabs better than they were hitting green crabs. But if you go into bait shops, you're not going to find Asian crabs. But if you go turn over rocks and catch all the Asian crabs you want, go out there and use them, it's considered an invasive species. And they don't want us fishing with live crab, which is crazy. Because Walk It Back Johnny, Chef Rob, he's the king of it. He puts the crab down, he walks it back, and bam, 7-pound tog, 8-pound tog, every time. And I'm not so lucky with putting down a whole crab. Really not. So mine have to be cut in half. I just haven't had any luck with a whole crab. and I haven't gotten it in front of the right cave. But from the source that I have, if you get boarded by the DEC and you are caught with short blackfish and you have Asian crabs on your boat, you will receive 2 tickets. One for possessing the Asian crabs and one for having a short blackfish. Don't take it up with me. I'm not the one giving you the ticket, okay? I'm just telling you what the sources are saying, and I'm passing the intel on to you guys. That's what the podcast is used for. I have a lot of fun with this podcast. We try to do the right thing for the fishery. Where are the bunker? I keep asking. No one sees them. Somebody posted of the tracking of a plane that came from New Jersey and went all the way to Montauk looking for bunker. And it just fits what we're talking about, that we haven't seen bunker all year. I haven't seen pods of bunker on the North Shore like I see them for the last few years where we could walk across them, okay? Same thing with the blues. I didn't see a ton of blues. Is it because of the lack of bunker? You know, all these fish, I've always said that there's highways that these fish travel on, right? They're migratory fish. They travel on highways. Temperature probably dictates a lot of that, of where they go and where the bait's going to be and which direction the wind is blowing, that the bait's going to be pinned up against, that they know to go to look for it in the back bays and the back harbors and wherever they go migratorily to find these bait fish. We're just not seeing the greatest amount of action on bunker pods this year on the North Shore. It's a known fact. Everybody's talking about it. And I've invited guys that are at all the meetings and very into that and have a much better understanding of the numbers and how they come up and how they calculate the metric tons and all the different numbers that equate to the information that we get that turns into regulations that we get to use out here catching fish. So to me, I'm not going to sit here and read other people's posts and stuff that I heard and show it to you. I'm going to try to get directly from the horse, okay? I'm going to try to get the horse to tell you so that you get it direct, and that's the best way. I always feel that getting it from the source is the best place to get the information, best place to get the intel. I just pass stuff on here. You could argue with me until you're blue in the face. I'm not arguing with you, okay? I'm just telling you how it was told to me, and I pass it on to you. That's it. So that's our bunker and green crab and Asian crab and rules and regulations and what's going on. The DEC knows that the letter that went out probably should not have gone out telling people what was going to happen with the green crabs and the Asian crabs. They probably should have held off on this and really worked it out to some detail before they get crazy with it. And obviously, everybody was up in arms and, you know, can you fish with green crab? Can you use them alive? You have to use them dead. You can't let them go. It's an invasive species. In the cover of my Facebook post last week, I actually wrote, "Who eats green crab?" And I love you, John Malazzo, because you wrote Blackfish, the Blackfish, and you're 100% right. But I meant humans because of what was posted on the news. And John, you're absolutely right. Get your news from the newspaper. It depends which paper. However, that was a great answer because you obviously listened to the podcast and I said I don't watch the news and you said newspaper and I love you for it. And I thought of you this morning because while I was walking a cart of Diet Cokes out of the supermarket, I literally passed the Pepsi distributor with his Pepsi vest and his U-boat, and he was loading up the Pepsi in the area, and here I go pushing Diet Cokes right past him. He was a young kid in the local area here, probably in his late 20s, early 30s tops. But I knew it wasn't you. Anyway, I definitely thought of it when I saw the Pepsi vest that he was wearing. So, thanks for responding in the post, guys. I love it. I comment on it. Kalo from Astoria, we love having you as a listener over there. We appreciate you being a loyal listener. We really do. We love that we have people from the West. You guys know when I mention the West is best. And who's in the West? On the count of three, everybody yell out his name. 1, 2, 3. Everybody knows Manny from the West. And we were just talking back and forth today because he said he was going out this morning. I was going out this morning. Me and Corey were heading out. And, we got a few charters this weekend. So we go out prospecting, and we like to look around and see what's really going on. And, things really got stirred up out there with the storm. And blackfishing is great. We're really dialed in to go get bass and blues. There's a tournament happening this weekend amongst 4 fishing clubs. I did touch on that briefly earlier. But I got a funny story for you. I mean, shit happens. I just talked about sailors that ran aground, and I had to go pull them, by their halyard and pull them off the rocks and get them into deeper water. So me and Corey went out at dead low tide today. And, Manny, I was thinking of you because you said you were going out, and we were going out early, and early it was dead low. We left, it was dead low tide, right? So minute I get out into the bay, there's 20, 30 birds working. I'll put up a video here. And we're seeing the birds work, and we know the bass are there. And we decide not to stick around to these birds, to go look in other areas. Now that we see the birds there, that's fine. Again, we're out prospecting. We're looking to see, what's going on in different areas. So it was blowing. It was blowing out of the west. You had some, the sound wasn't exactly flat like it could be. It was pretty choppy out there. But again, we were out looking around. We said, hey, you know what? Let's go into the back bays, even though it's low tide. Let's go look around because we did see more birds in other areas. We look around with the binoculars. We put the sonar in bird mode, and, it says, hey, the birds are over here, and we go and we look, right? So we're on this nice flock of birds hitting the water. We're seeing some splashes, and we're able to identify that it's bass. And we decide to cruise a little closer into the shoreline. Now, I'm sitting in 4 feet of water, okay? And I'm in the back of the bay, okay? I'm in 4 feet of water, and I decide to venture off into a corner where I've never been before. So to me, it's uncharted territory. And here I go out of 4 feet into 2 feet, and I see it on the sonar. I see the hill just coming up, right? And so the first thing I do is, the trim tab's going up. Who cares if the bottom of the boat rubs, anything on the bottom? I'm not in a rocky area. It's a mud bottom. So you feel the little bump, and we get right over it because I see that it goes back down to 3 and 4 feet, and we keep moving, and we're going, and I'm 100 yards from the shore, and I start heading back out towards the channel, and the next thing you know, you hear the hull just going, just rubbing the bottom. You hear it, so the engine's up right away. That's my natural instinct is to put the engine up. A lot of times I'll even shut it off. And we look over the side, and, I'm in 6 to 7 inches of water, tops. So the first thought that goes through my mind is, I'm going to get out of this because it's just who I am, I'm not calling Cito. And anyway, the good news to the whole story is really that it was dead low tide. So in an hour, you throw your anchor. In an hour, you're back up a foot. You're out of there, So you're going to, and especially when you're not in any danger. You have no rocks, none of that. You did no damage. Sit tight, and you're out of harm's way. But I know a few tricks to the trade, and I always tell people when I taught you on shallow water drills, you follow your bubbles in, you got to follow your bubbles out. You cannot go forward. Obviously, you just ran into shallow water, so there's no guarantee that it's going to get any deeper in front of you, but you know that you had deeper water behind you. So we were able to just cruise right back right out. And I got to tell you, it was, it was funny. It really was, especially after the weekend that I had prior, ungrounding people that were, seriously grounded, and would have had to wait on Sunday. You would have had to wait until 11 p.m. to get pulled off of any grounding that you had. And they were like a quarter of the way out. The ebb tide was like a quarter of the way down, and they were on the ground where they were. So now they had to wait to get to low. 2 o'clock, they had to wait to get to low, and they had to get to high. It would have been another 9 hours of sitting there before they could have gotten off. For us, it would have been tops an hour. Tide was already on its way in. So it's a matter of timing when that happens and where you are. But we also knew where we were going and where it was. There was no rocks. We weren't in any danger. We weren't tog fishing. We were in the rocky areas looking for the tog. So, Howie, I understand when you go across to Connecticut with Rob, and you guys want to get between the two rock piles, you want to use Rob's old boat with the spot lock on it. Definitely, or you're going to use 2 anchors and try to keep yourself positioned, especially on that beautiful regulator of yours. So I heard that story from Rob too. And we already told you the tog fishing's off to a great start. It really is, man. Guys are catching 6, 7, 8 pounders right out of the gate. And then I have friends that went out and, they're catching all shorts. And, Chris and Lisa went out and they dropped anchor, and boats around them were catching all shorts, and he limited out on really nice keepers. And if you're catching all shorts in the area that you are, and you got to work for these fish right now. A couple of guys in my marina went out. They were in some 4-foot swells, but they went through a whole bushel of crab, and they really had to work for them. They got some nice fish. They did. Fish to 8 pounds, I believe. 7, 8 pounds, which is an awesome tog. And especially if you're getting it in like 49 feet of water. That's a fun fight. That's a fun fish to catch. So these things hit like freight trains. I love it. And they were in 49 feet of water. They had to work for it, like I said, on green crabs. They were not using Asian crabs. And this time of the year, most guys keep them in a bucket, drill holes, drop them down in their marina, or they have the crates. They load up the crates and they keep them there floating in the marina. And it's that time of the year. 58-degree water temps. You got seals across the way. Andrew had a great video last week of seals in Bridgeport that were feeding on cocktail blues. Or blues. I got to say blues because I'd have to pull up the actual image. I could put it up here. He actually had a great video of it. And that's what I love. The local community, we're all dialed in. We all communicate with one another. We're sending each other pictures and videos. I got a picture Wednesday morning. Now, I told you, Wednesday mornings I'm in the studio doing radio show obligations that I have for the last 18 years. So I have no choice but on Wednesday to be in the studio. 9:30 we start recording, and I'm not done until 6:30 at nighttime. And so when I see that it's blowing on a Wednesday, I'm thrilled. It's raining on a Wednesday, I'm happy. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I get a video sent to me, and I'll put the video up here, of birds that were making such a commotion in my area, in one of the bays. And you'll see in the video here, you'll recognize it. And, they were just, and there was one boat. There was one guy in this little green boat. And I saw a rod. I see the rod in his hand in the video. So he was definitely fishing it. And, those days you just miss that. You can't get out there. And it was a day that this looked like something out of Jurassic Park. It got everybody's attention on the beach. If you lived in that area, you heard this. It caused a commotion. That's how the person that actually recorded the video described it to me, that it got their attention, that they came out of the house, they heard the commotion going on. And so it was like something out of Jurassic Park. So this time of the year, that's what you come out of the harbor, you don't know what you're going to walk into. And for me, that's why we got to go out prospecting. We got charters all weekend, so we're excited to get out there. We bounced around. We checked around. No, I'm not going to run aground when I have people on the boat. When it's me and Corey, we'll venture into some areas. And, again, you just got to be careful. And so far this year, I stretched the cable. I don't have a fly-by-wire on my two-smoke. I stretched the cable. I spun a hub. And that was just a couple weeks ago. And this morning we ran aground. But we didn't get stuck. But we definitely were in 6 inches of water. And the hole was sitting on the bottom. Yeah, it was no doubt, But easily came right off, and we weren't stuck for an hour. So I'm happy about that. Worked out to my benefit. And we're excited to get back out there tomorrow. We really are. And we're loaded up on green crab. We're excited to get out there and togfish. Eric Hernandez, congratulations. You are the winner of Bay Rats and Buoys Anniversary Raffle. You will be getting a Star Rods Stellar Lite medium fast 6'6" rod with a Stradic 3000. And Eric, when I tell you, this rod is not easy to get because the companies are not producing. They might be going out of business. Somebody has to come in and buy them. There's all kinds of things happening with this brand, but it's the ultimate setup. You are absolutely going to love this. For tog, for fluke, anything you're doing on the bottom, you're absolutely going to love this setup. It is super light. Me and Corey are jealous. We love it. But we're happy to give it away. That's what Bay Rats and Buoys is about. Every month we're going to try to raffle off some cool stuff. And that's it. Episode 54, keeping it simple. Lots going on. Air temperature in the morning, it was 43. I wore long johns this morning on the boat. I got down to the dock, it was 45 degrees. And I got to say, the marina, even though there was a low tide, the marina was packed. And when I pulled up, even more pickup trucks parked next to me. When we got back and walked into the parking lot, it looked like a pickup dealership. There must have been 18 or 12, 15 trucks all lined up in a row, and it was pretty funny. So thanks to Empire Chevrolet, I'm sitting in a nice Silverado Custom. I absolutely love my truck, and it's always cool to see all the different brands and all the different trucks in the parking lot. But I love my Chevy. I love my Diet Coke. I didn't crack open the Coolidge on. It is sitting right over there. It's in arm's length. I didn't put it on set with me here. And I'm sitting in the studio to get this done tonight, guys. It is Friday night. I am going to head over to the ice rink now with the kids. Do my Friday night stuff that I do with the family and the kids and have some fun. I may even run into some Bay Rats and Buoys fans and listeners and see Paul over there. And what else? I told you I wore long johns this morning. It's super cold in the morning, man. You got to have gloves and hats. Unless you got heated seats like the Why Not. Hint, hint. We'll be happy to go black fishing with Eric and break in that rod. Corey will cut crabs. No problem, Eric. We got you covered. We don't have to wear long johns if we're going on your boat because I see you have that thing fully enclosed now. You threw a nice little wake past us the other day in the harbor. That was nice. We love when that happens. And I'm leaving, Thursday morning. I'm pulling out, leaving the marina on the towboat. And I see a boat up on plane, and he's coming back in. And I recognize the shirt, so I see him all the time. And I'm just like, yo, what's wrong, I was close enough. And he's like, take it on water. And he was up on plane, running it to the back, get it into a sling. So a lot of times, if you see somebody flying through the harbor and the boat's taking on water, they're going to get that boat onto a trailer or into a sling, and they've already made the phone calls, and the guys in the sling are already lowered. It's in the water. This boat's going to pull in and, sit down on the sling, and they're going to pull it out. Or they're going to get it up on a trailer, or it's going to go sit on the ramp. Sometimes you put it on a beach, These things happen, especially this time of the year. Lots of stuff to fix and work on. Corey did all kinds of real repairs today. I got to run some new electric wires and stuff for the trailer and tweak that and make that nice. So there's always something to do. It's a boat. And if you guys have a boat and a trailer and a marina and you back and forth and whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's always something to fix. Even on Eric's boat, there's always something to fix. I got to sit and talk. We got to get Eric. We're going to get the winner of the rod and reel combo on the podcast. Eric is an absolute awesome guy. Him and Karen, they're great people over at Huntington Yacht Club. But you got to hear Eric's story of how he started in boating and where he's taken it to now. It's a whole new level, and I love that about his story. And I think it should be told. I really do, because he's like super hardcore. And he'll be the first one to tell you with a big, beautiful 38 outrage, the things that go wrong, even on a newer boat. So, I have an older boat and things go wrong and you stay on the maintenance and you do these things. And it would be nice for you guys to hear from somebody with a newer boat that the different problems that people have. And if you guys have any problems with your boat, Frank, I can't wait to see the Robalo. I really can't. Congratulations. I didn't hear about any splashdown yet. I'm sure you're going to shoot me a text or a message. Let's get out there. Let's christen that bad boy with some bass and some blues and some tog. But congratulations. He got himself a nice, beautiful Robalo, and he did some really nice work to it, too. So super excited to see that out there. Hopefully we'll all have a nice, calm day. We can get out there. I think we got some weather coming in. Wind-wise, I mean, we can't catch a break here, but that's this time of the year. All right, I tell everybody in May, if you could fish 2 weeks in May, you got a good start of the season in, because May, the weather can be really iffy, right? October, I feel like this wind has just been relentless. And, I mean, we're still going out. Now Corey's back. He's in the country, and he came back to the country this week, so me and the dynamic duo were back out there. Back to our hardcore ways, and we're excited to show you guys some pictures and videos and whatnot of what's going on out there. I told you the water temp's 58 degrees. I think it's perfect time of the year. We got, 5 weeks left. I usually come out third week in November. I may come out sooner this year. I don't know. I may stay in later. I may go to the South Shore and finish up on the bass there. I don't know. I'm always juggling some options. There's always options, so I like to stay on my toes and change things up a little bit. We do have charters booked. We're happy to get out there. We're excited to put people on tog. We cannot wait for this weekend's charters. Guys that are in the tournaments locally, to the 4 fishing clubs, best of luck to all of you. I hope you guys catch some nice fish out there. Obviously, I'll be swapping some intel with some good friends in the area. And that's it, man. Episode 54 is in the books. We gave away the anniversary raffle. Eric Hernandez. I cannot believe. You guys saw it. I did it live right there. I clicked it. It spins. 20 seconds it was set for. And it gets down to real slow, and boom, pops the name up on the screen. So that is 100% random, and I'm super excited to hand that awesome rod and reel off to Eric. He'll be super excited to get it. I will tell you how to get it, Eric. So I know how to get in touch with you. If you hear it on the podcast here, shoot me a message, and we will link up. I will tell you how you can get it. And that's it. Episode 54 is in the books. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you wear your hats and your gloves when you head out early morning, because I'll tell you, it is cold out there. The air is cooler than the water. The water feels warmer when you reach over and, put a fish back or grab a fish or touch the water, period. I'll drop some more cameras down. I'll show you the underwater footage. Hope you enjoy some of that. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to drop the cameras down when we're tog fishing and see what I can show you in the rocky areas that we go. And hopefully we'll get some cool footage. Like always, wishing you guys bent rods, tight lines, and I hope I get to see you out there on the water, because I'm meeting new people, new loyal listeners every week out there on the water. I love seeing you guys out there. I really do. I love seeing you in the store, seeing you in town. There's nothing cooler, even seeing you at the ice rinks. So I look forward to it, and that's it. Let's close out episode number 54. Captain Gaige signing off. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.